Hey there, fellow readers. Mrs. Weidman here, and today we're going to be talking about In the Shadow of the Fallen Towers, the seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, and years following the 9/11 terrorist attacks. And this was written and illustrated by Don Brown. And what I love about this book is it's actually graphic nonfiction. So the whole book is told in these comic book sort of panel styles of art, right? And they have lots of dialogue, but there's also moments when there's just some side information tucked away in their own little boxes, right? And what I actually really loved about this book is not only is it kind of in that graphic sort of format, but it's also 100% nonfiction, which means that Don Brown really did his research, right? He looked at different survivor accounts of those days. He looked at a whole bunch of different historical records and newspaper clippings and all sorts of different accounts about the 9/11 attacks. And that's what he used to compile his story, right? In the Shadow of the Fallen Towers. So I highly recommend this book for any student who is interested in learning more about American history, specifically the attacks that happened on September 11th, 2001. And even though I was alive for September 11th and I very distinctly remember those days, I was very impressed that Don Brown managed to include new information that was really surprising and informative as well. Right? Like I had no idea that all of these flights from Europe got grounded up in Canada, and some of the people who were on those flights were actually stuck right in Canada for almost a whole week, right, worth of time, which is just crazy to think about. Right, one of the most impressive things about this book for Don Brown, right, was he really made these attacks, this really terrible day where over 2,000 people died, really approachable, right? And it's very emotional. Right, you might find yourself tearing up a little bit or really thinking about the horror of what happened on this day. However, it's not overly graphic, it's not overly violent, it's really just more an impactful sort of reading. So, if that sounds interesting, I highly recommend In the Shadow of the Fallen Towers as a next great read for you. I'll see y'all online soon.